I don't even know. I don't even know. You gonna talk to him? Come on, here we go. Alright, that works. Is my sponsors deals, are they still rocking? Oh. I guess Nightbot is still dead. Or maybe just my account is dead. I don't know. I'll worry about that some other time. Anyway. Anyway, let's keep working on this stupid thing. I don't know. I want to work on the background, but I kind of want to do the back of the head first, but I don't want to do the back of the head at all because it looks annoying. But it really shouldn't be that bad. I'm just a whiny brat. Let's farts. That isn't helpful at all. I wonder, let me see. Let's take a look. That's weird. No, nothing. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Nightbot is still here. It still has my account and my own commands. I don't know. Do I need to make it a mod again or something? I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's already a moderator in the channel. Try these troubleshooting tips that you should have tried before you started streaming. Didn't change my name. Isn't banned. I didn't think that would make a difference. So if it's not doing that, then what do I do? I don't have a clue why it doesn't work now. This isn't helpful. This is fucking pissing me off. I don't know what to do. Fuck. How do I do that? How do I customize this shit? I don't want answers from 2018. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. I don't want to fight with this bullshit right now. So no sponsors, no commands today. We're just fucked. All right. I thought maybe there would be a quick fix, but there is not. Or at least I'm too stupid to find it. Let's, yeah, back ahead. Let's do back of head for a bit. Mm-hmm. Dr. Demiology, hello. Yeah, I wasn't getting paid enough from the sponsors anyway. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna, oh. Blah, 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 blah. How about if we do it this way first? I have no idea. Apparently, from my cursory look, it's not Nightbot down. It's just, it doesn't want to play on my channel anymore. And I have no clue why or why not. And I didn't think to even try to fix it until I started streaming and remembered that it doesn't work anymore. Oh well. So we're going to keep working on this for a bit. I should do things. Just a bit. It doesn't need to take up that much space. There we go. I did work on this a bit off stream. Figured I'd try to work on it on stream here for a little while. The past week, if you were wondering, has been, past 2 weeks actually, pretty rough. Not good times for in the other door household. First, I tried to I saw a new doctor and we tried to up my antidepressants and I had pretty bad side effects to the point my hips and my knees were aching so intensely I could barely get up and walk around. It was quite awful. So I immediately scaled back And then my limbs started feeling better. So I went for a bike ride, and I always do this. I said to myself, all right, it's a nice day. I'll just get out on my bike and I'll just ride for a few miles. And then I ended up just really pushing myself extremely hard for, I think I ended up going 17 miles. And everything was just sore and achy, but I felt like it actually done something. And so my left knee was more sore than anything else. And I thought, oh, it'll get better. It's just a little worn out. And I ended up walking on it all day the next day. Well, not all day, but like for an hour straight. And for some reason, just my left knee was just throbbing in intense pain. Everything else had seemed to recover. But my left knee just found some sort of new injury. And so for another week, I just couldn't move around just because I strained or broke or did something to my left knee. And that sucked quite a bit. That was not fun. I think the real problem is the bangs in the mirror. I mean, the whole thing needs work. So that's kind of everything I had planned, which wasn't much, just completely stalled out because I could barely move. I could barely get around my apartment. And I went to a movie on Saturday, and it was pretty strenuous, but I managed to do it. And today I went to go play some board games at a store, and I felt pretty good. My knee was actually working, and I could actually walk, even though it was painful sometimes. So that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, that just sucked. It's like I have enough difficulty mentally trying to hold myself together, and then suddenly my body just doesn't want to work anymore. Doesn't want to function the way it's supposed to. That's pretty demoralizing. Needs to be bigger. That was no fun. Upping antidepressants can be kind of wacky sometimes. If you hurt your knee while riding your bike, but the joint pain distracted you. Yeah, it was definitely the overall joint pain, I think, was masking the very specific joint pain that one knee was feeling. But everything hurt, so I didn't realize that I was causing damage to that one particular part of my body. I think it's safe to say. No. But yeah. And I really should have known better. I don't know. I was just feeling hopeful that I should have known that the last time I tried to do that. I wasn't even thinking about side effects. I was just thinking things could be better, but they can't. And a part of it was also just that thing I do where I just want to go a little bit. I want to ride my bike a little bit. I want to walk around a little bit. And then I end up just going for hours and hurting myself because I'm just trying to push myself hard. That didn't help anything. This looks dumb. But I feel like I'm finally starting to come out of it, finally starting to function again. They installed a basketball hoop right outside my apartment. It was, I mean, they had a pole for it, but there wasn't an actual backboard on there. And they finally put the backboard up. I thought they were never going to do it. It was just an empty promise from when I moved in, but they actually put it up. And like one of the days where I could barely walk, I just got out there and just somebody left a basketball out there and I just shot around for 15 minutes. And that's a thing that I'll always enjoy doing. I just like to shoot hoops. I can't stand to watch the NBA anymore because it blows, but I still enjoy shooting hoops. This but I was feeling kind of lousy this morning, but actually getting out, because I figured out the formula. There's a pretty simple formula. Is if I stay inside, I feel lousy. If I stay in my apartment, I'm just going to feel awful and isolated and lonely. And if I get out and do something, it's going to increase the possibilities of me enjoying myself or having a good time. It doesn't guarantee it, but it's, especially if I plan it out and I plan something to do. And so physically not being able to do that at all, not being able to get up and get out at all, just kind of threw that whole formula out of whack. I always have to draw beyond the frame because I never know when I'm going to change my mind and decide to crop it a little more or a little less than my original plan. I don't want to belabor this, but I know if I'm too shoddy, it's just going to look really dumb. Right service for disabled people. Ah. Yeah, that's them. The 76ers. I think their star player is injured now and may not even make the playoffs, so they're kind of hurting at the moment. Whoops. That's not what I want. But that is funny that you recognized them. Yeah, they don't really lean into that as much as they did a few years ago, the process thing. And Joel Embiid called himself the process as a nickname. They aren't really doing that as much these days. Whereas the Celtics, who are a team that did not tank on purpose and did not deliberately play as terrible as possible to get high draft picks, they are doing amazing with trades and savvy drafting and whatnot, and they're doing better than the 76ers, who had this whole dedicated process to improve. But one of the star players of the Celtics is an anti-Semite, anti-vax moron. So I just can't watch Celtics games anymore, and that kind of sucks because I've been a fan of them most of my life. I really should have put that strap on its own layer because I keep dancing around it. Dancing around the strap. How is that? Is that okay? Does it? Oh. I really want to kind of get into the grungy wall. See, I'm having a problem here with the tubes. What if I just do that? That make it easier? Yeah. Whoops. Oops. Oh, I did figure out, I'm sure you recall me complaining a lot. See, that makes it look like her shoulder is gigantic. About the shortcuts on my stylus, and I finally figured out that the stylus I was using was just broken, and I bought a new one, and now I don't have that problem anymore. I kept thinking there was some sort of shortcut conflict, or I kept trying to figure out software solutions, but it was the actual stylus itself was just busted, and sometimes the shortcuts would work and sometimes they wouldn't. So $20, bought a new stylus, problem solved. So that's nice to get that out of the way. I think I need to, this is a little, I don't know, maybe if I just lift that up. That'll be fine. We'll do that for now. Maybe do this. Squeeze these in a bit. My stylus does not have a battery. It is an XP pen, which does not use a battery, fortunately. I had one, I don't know what kind, is it the Hue one that uses batteries? And I had one of those for a while, and it just annoyed me having to recharge it. Not even that often, but just the fact that I had to recharge it every now and then, just I found it irritating. I think for our purposes, this is fine. This back of her head, it could be better. I kind of want to keep working on the face and the hair, but I've worked on it so much. Maybe just a little bit, just a wee bit, just try to get it to look not quite so dumb. Just a little bit. That might be better, I don't know. Doesn't have a battery. I remember Wacom used to have tablets with battery pens, and graphic tablets were becoming more common. Well, I don't remember what kind I had then that did have the battery. But did I even have one? Am I lying to myself? Let's see. The wall. Twos. We got the sun. Now I was trying something with this. I have just very, I don't know, it must have been around 2010, 2009 when I got my first tablet, and it was just a little small Wacom. Just, excuse me, just to see if I like it. And it was kind of sort of for my wife as well, because she liked to do art stuff. I think she would have really loved these. Even like an iPad, she would have loved, but these modern, like the tablet I'm using now, she would have had so much fun with it. But oh well. Even just a modern smartphone, she would have loved. We didn't have one of those when she died. Anyway, okay, this is getting a little too much. Not quite working. But yeah, I want to say 2009, 2010 is when I first got my little Wacom tablet, and I've just been upgrading and trying out new tablets ever since then. Am I doing this? It's like a bark of a tree, but I guess that's okay. Oh, what if we do it this? Doing what I want you to do. In 2011, I was 10 or so. Bamboo was the cheapest one at the time. Yep, a Bamboo. That's what I had. School, I had to spend an hour on the phone with Geek Squad with my mom to make it work. That sounds irritating. But hopefully worth it. When I first moved into this apartment in beginning of January, I didn't have any internet. I signed up and I did everything I was supposed to do, and I had the modem physically attached to the cable, and I still wasn't getting any internet. So I called and I finally found a number so I could talk to a human, and I got somebody to come out here, and he fixed the problem. And he told me very explicitly, he said, well, the problem was the cable outside of the building, so you will not be charged for it. This wasn't anything that you did, and it isn't inside your apartment. It was outside of the building, nothing you could have done about it. And they might try to charge you, but you should not be charged for this. This should not. And then on my first cable bill, just an extra $100 charge for the service. And I had to call them up and say, hey, the technician guy said very explicitly, very specifically, that I would not be charged for this. And the woman on the phone said, well, let me look. Oh, he left very clear notes. Oh, no, you shouldn't have been charged for that. Just felt like, why did I need to call you if his notes were so good? Were you just trying to bamboozle me and hope I didn't notice? Was that your plan? And I probably only used the word bamboozled because I just read the word bamboo. But yeah, I mean, that's typical business practices, but still annoying. It's just irritating that you have to go through that fight. And it seems, maybe it's just me, but it just seems like the public works and the utilities, that's the word I'm looking for. The utilities in Arizona are just have more predatory pricing than what I'm used to in Maine and even in Florida. They just, I don't know. It just seems like they're more out to get you and trying to screw you and squeeze every last cent out of you, which is pretty hard to be worse than, I guess Maine was bad, but that's one of those things where it's bad everywhere. You're not going to find any magnanimous electric company or cable company. I feel like, let's try this. Oh yeah, this pretty distinct. I suppose I could try to just really put a button on it and show like a cockroach or something crawling up the wall, but that seems a bit much. Like a bit much. I don't think that's necessary. No, I'll go away. Remember the last time I did a wall like this? And the key to making it look cracked was to put the bright whites and the dark darks right next to each other on these cracks. It's on the internet, it's been rolling out, which has served me however, served me well, maybe. Getting fuel assistance in the winter was just the worst. Oh yeah, my father was telling me for years as he was being dragged along, because he had this really awful satellite internet that would work about half the time and was very slow. And he kept telling me that the town he lived in, they were gonna have cable internet. And he saw a guy working on it, and the guy said, he talked to him, and the guy said it was just gonna be another month, and then they were gonna get it to his house. And I think about 2 years, my father kept telling me that they kept telling him that in another month he was gonna have the cable internet. It's just like it never got closer than a month away. And then finally, like last year, finally hooked it up, and he was blown away having an internet that didn't crash, and you could like do two things at the same time. You could watch TV and check your email at the same time, stuff like that. Just crazy. I want to say it was 2 years that they were just dragging him along. Or at least since he started telling me about it, it felt like 2 years passed until he finally actually received it. And he kind of lives way out in the sticks on a dirt road in a pretty small town to start with. But once the process was going and they knew they were rolling it out, I mean, there was no reason to lie to him about it. And his internet was so bad. I had stayed with him once years and years ago, and it was like unbelievably bad. It was like 90s era bad. But that was all he'd had, and he didn't know that it was supposed to be, that it could be better. I don't know. This feels... I want this to be bright, and it slowly gets darker, and that's not happening right now. And now, just in the past month, for some reason that I have no clue why, he's just not receiving my texts. And I guess he thought I just wasn't responding to him. He would like send me pictures, and I would write back, oh, that looks nice, or it looks like it's cold outside, or blah, blah, blah. And then he wouldn't reply back. And then I finally just called him on his landline that he still has. And I asked him, have you been getting my texts? And he just hasn't been getting them. And that's pretty frustrating. That really pisses me off. And I have no idea. Other people have been getting my texts. People have been getting the text that I send them. I have no idea. I can't, physically take his phone and look at it. And also it's an iPhone, which I'm not as familiar with. I thought about just messaging my brother, who I barely ever talk to, and just asking him, hey, can you look at Dad's phone? Try to figure out why he's not getting my text messages. But that just really sucks. I don't want to just fall out of touch with my father because this weird technical thing is happening that he would never be able to figure out, and I have no way from long distance of diagnosing. So that kind of blows that that's been happening. I did send him a message on Facebook Messenger that he received, and I sent him an email that he received. So hope is not lost. But when I tried to call his cell phone, it immediately went to voicemail and he never got the voicemail. And when I would send text messages to him, he just wouldn't reply back. I figured he was just ignoring me, but he just wasn't getting them. But that sucks. That's going on. And that's something I just had this uneasy feeling will never get fixed. He won't know how to look at it and figure it out. He won't know who to talk to figure it out. And he's lived most of his life without text messages, so it probably won't seem like a big deal to him, but it just pisses me off that it's happening. I could be wrong. Maybe he is just lying to me and he just doesn't care, but I don't think that's the case. That doesn't seem like him. How's that loading? It needs work. I don't think he would ever have any desire to visit me here, and I have no desire to ever go back to Maine. I still have nightmares. I had a really bad nightmare that I was still in Maine and I hadn't moved yet. And I just felt so awful, like, oh, I gotta do all this shit. I gotta get this done so I can get out of here. And then when I woke up, I felt so relieved. I don't ever want to go back to that nightmare place. It's hard because I want to use 2 different brushes, but it's kind of a challenge for me right now to switch back and forth. I don't know the best way to do that. Well, I think the best thing to do would be to just draw all the little lines first with the pencil tool and then add shading with the chalk tool, or chalk brush, pencil brush and the chalk brush. And that's what I kind of started doing, but it just, I don't know. Feels like it would take a million years to do it that way. What if I don't want to do this for a million years? I want to spend 2 to 4 more hours on this picture and then be done with it. Maybe instead of using that pencil tool, maybe just stick with this and just make it really small. And maybe that will be easier to work with it. I don't need that lighter. I need everything else darker. What am I doing? Maybe I should just work on the balls for a bit. Probably its phone service provider on the verge of the boonies. My server can get pretty spotty. Well, it's, I don't think it's location that is causing him to miss text messages. Let me say text messages because I'm having a really hard time saying the plural of text. Getting my text messages. Because he would send me some from Orono and some from Bangor and some from, like, if he was hiking or something, he would send me a text message and I would reply, and he just wasn't getting any of my replies. There might be something, I don't know if he's texting anybody else and having the same problem, or if it's just me, I don't know. It might be the provider. I feel like there's probably some sort of setting on his phone, and maybe he accidentally hit a block button or a spam button that he didn't know. That's my theory. And he just needs to dig into the settings and unblock it or undelete something. And that would be something where I don't know iPhones that well, so, or at all. So I wouldn't know where in the settings to start looking to figure that out. AT&T has been having outages. Mobile phone service providers use T-Mobile network. Maybe I should ask him who his provider is and see if that makes a difference. I'm glad he still had the landline so I could call him. He was going to get rid of it when he finally got the cable internet, but my stepmother, his wife, wouldn't do it. She wanted to keep that landline, goddammit. And now I'm glad that she did. I don't know if anybody else ever calls them on it. This is... I can't tell if this looks textured or if it just looks like a gray blobby mess. I think it's leaning more towards mess, but I can keep working with it. They have had my father and stepmother, their telephone number, their landline was, and I presume still is, 1 digit away from a hospital number. Not an emergency number, but like a number, a number of, like, not the maternity ward, but maybe something like that. ICU or something. And a few times a week, they would just get random calls from people asking, is so-and-so a patient there? Or, could I talk to so-and-so doctor? And they would just tell them, point them in the right direction, say, no, you have the wrong number. I would not have been able to tolerate that. After the first month, I would have changed my number. Yeah, something like that. It reads as a damaged wall. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad it, thus far, it looks like a wall. I think maybe if I give these bottles 3D texture, that will help convey what I'm trying to do here. That's not helping. That's just making it more confusing. Let's do that. Let's add some bottles. A series of tubes. I need something. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look quite how I want it to, but it doesn't look necessarily bad. These are going to be kind of tough, but not impossible. First, let's get some undercoat. In the undertow. This is so much nicer with a stylus that isn't broken. If you can possibly imagine. These are quite dark. These are actually transparent. So, well, mostly transparent. It's a start. Is that? Oh, you can't see that. Interesting. All right. Let me take a look. Things that I have watched lately. I watched the first season of Ozark, and I really liked that. No, I don't want that. I want this. Yeah, good stuff, high quality stuff. It makes me feel like maybe I should finally get around to watching Breaking Bad. Because I really enjoyed Ozark a lot. Let's see. I'm looking at my stuff I've watched lately for something to talk about. Oh, I watched Man on Fire, which is a Denzel Washington movie directed by Tony Scott. And for the first 3/4 of the movie, I thought that it was he was going to travel back in time and do everything over again. And so I watched the movie with that understanding. Okay, at some point, all right, that person died. Okay, I see. And this thing went wrong and this went poorly. But when he traveled back in time, he's gonna fix it. And then I figured out as the movie was nearing its end that I had the wrong movie in mind. I think the other movie was Out of Time was the name of it, which also starred Denzel Washington and was also directed by Tony Scott. And that was the movie. Was that directed by Tony Scott? No, that was directed by... No, it's not that one either. It's not Out of Time. Which one is it? But there's a different movie with a different title. And I was watching the wrong one. Well, not the wrong one, but not the one I thought it was. And I thought that was interesting. Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Directed by Tony Scott, starring Denzel Washington. And this one, I think he travels back in time. And not Man on Fire. But it really kind of, I thought it was interesting how much it changed my perspective of what I was watching, assuming that the protagonist would learn from these mistakes and go back in time and fix everything. And then realizing with about 20 minutes left in the movie, oh, that's not this movie. All these things are permanent. All these people who died and mistakes he made and things that he fucked up, those are going to stay that way. He's not ever going to go back in time. And I don't know. I mean, I still thought the movie sucked. I don't really like Tony Scott's later work. Which, I don't know, do I even like his early stuff? But just very frenetic and just lots of choppy editing for no particular reason, and terrible camera angles and out of focus and wobbly for no goddamn reason. So I don't think I will watch the Deja Vu movie. But I just find it kind of intriguing what you carry into the movie with you can... Well, I mean, I've always known that. But what you even think that you're watching can change what you gather from it, how you perceive it. I remember thinking, getting distracted by my distraction. Not the first time I thought of it, but something... I remember the Mars Attacks movie. The beginning of the movie, the first half hour or so, there are all these jokes that are dependent upon you knowing that the name of the movie is Mars Attacks, and you knowing that the aliens are going to eventually start causing havoc and hurting people. So basically you have to not know the ending, but you have to know the trajectory of the story in order to really get all these jokes. And I mean, in a movie like that specifically, where it's a comedy and the name of it is Mars Attacks and the poster is aliens and everything, you know, it's not a big leap to ask that of the audience, for them to get it, that these are jokes, people. This looks too streaky. I want it to look more matte. Maybe if I do that a little bit, maybe. But I think about that a lot, how people perceive art. So Martha text last year without much info beforehand and was surprised. In what way were you surprised? I mean, hopefully you weren't surprised that Mars attacked. I found it to be, I haven't seen it for a while, but I remember it being very inconsistent and some really, really funny stuff and some really, really awful stuff. I would probably feel the same if I saw it again today. I'm spending as much on this one bottle as I spent on the whole wall. Some of that can lead to rewatchability. Hello, Ramoon Zig. Thanks for stopping by. I'm just drawing a scene from a movie called Lilya Forever from 2002. And I'm just talking about movies. Feel free to add to the conversation or just hang out. Yeah, Lilya Forever is really new to art. Ah, okay. What kind of art do you like to do, if you don't mind my asking? I've been tinkering around with art as a hobby for many decades, and one of these days I might get okay at it. But not today. I used to do a lot of pen or brush and ink way back in the day. Looks incredibly impressive. Well, thank you for saying so. That is very nice of you to say so. Too bright. Bright light, bright light. Oh yeah, talking about the new inherited iPad with an Apple Pencil. Video game characters with simple designs. That's a good place to start, especially if you're just learning how to do digital, just drawing stuff that you like and stuff that you know. Video game characters. I don't do fan art often, but I did do a picture once a while ago of Samus from Metroid as an old woman complaining, like wheezing and complaining about running out of energy tanks. But I did that years ago. I wonder if I have that on this computer. Whoops. Is that it? Oh, wow. Let's see. This was something I did a long time ago. How long ago? Probably not even that long ago. I don't have the date on there, but yeah. I just thought it was kind of an inside joke with a friend of mine about Samus running out of reserve tanks like an old person. So that's as close to fan art as I get. Scared to show people. Just an unnamed streamer begged for me to show my art and then flamed it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, don't listen to, especially if you're starting out, don't listen to people giving you shit. Just have fun is my non-professional advice. If you would like to show me something, you're welcome to. If not, that's cool too. If you want to talk about art, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond. But I'm sorry you had a negative experience. I will try to be nice. Although I have had scammers pop in and try to tell me they were into art, and then they showed me stuff that they very clearly just pulled from the internet And I made fun of those people. So if you're a scammer, I might make fun of you, but hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully we won't have to go there. Small doodle I could show you is from today, actually. If you'd like to share it, feel free. How's that? Is that? I don't know. It looks wonky. It looks... I'm talking about my own stuff. It looks kind of... It looks like it's not a bottle. It looks like it's just random surfaces kind of patched together as opposed to a coherent bottle. Because I didn't blot it out enough. Maybe that'll be okay. Moving on. Oh. I feel like I should talk about the movie Lilya forever that I'm drawing his picture from, but it's a very miserable movie. It's very, very sad. Best not to think about it at this moment. I sent a link to the image. I don't know how else to share. That should be fine right now. Just send one link right now and we'll see how it goes. I have a Discord. I do have a Discord. If you want to go on the Discord and share something there, that's probably better than doing it in Twitch chat. I don't use Discord often because I'm bad at social media, but that's a good way to share artwork with people. Got that, we got that. Crystallite. I'm afraid of being on the actual server. Sure, if you just want to share a picture. This is getting more and more complicated. Is it... Oh, no, that's not who I thought that was. Oh, what is this? Oh, here we go. Ah, all right. Yeah, that's a nice little doodle. Sort of a face. I won't share it on the stream if you don't want me to. Is that just your first little face? Is this a character from something that I just don't know? And also, is this your the first thing you've done on your inherited iPad? Is that what I'm looking at? Undertale. Okay, yeah, I've not seen or played Undertale, but that's pretty cool. It's very expressive, which can be hard to nail. It looks... That's a nice little doodle. I would encourage you to keep going, keep at it, keep tinkering. Have fun. Just have fun. Oops. I'm not sure. But if somebody made fun of you for that, then that person's an asshole. What am I doing? I make fun of myself a lot. I am very self-deprecating. And people get worried about me because I talk about how bad my art is. But I feel like I'm being reasonable. It's just a hobby for me. It's just a fun thing. making it worse, for example. Have you done, if you don't mind my asking, have you done a lot of drawing just on paper with pencil or pen? Is drawing something that you like to do? I always keep a sketchbook with me in my pocket, a paper sketchbook and a pen or pencil. I don't always use it, but I always have it. And if I'm like bored or nervous or don't know what to do with myself or I'm waiting for something to happen, I will pull out my sketchbook and just start drawing like chairs and lamp fixtures and things. Can't be hard on yourself. You be hard. Yes, Dr. Genealogy knows all too well how critical I can be of myself. Yeah, I drew on paper a long time before I got into digital. I kind of wish digital software was more of a thing and tablets were more of a thing when I was growing up. I think you are distracting me and you need to go away. I'm talking to the magenta square, not you, the viewer. You, the viewer, are fine. Oops. I have found most streamers to be pretty positive and supportive when people show up in their chat and they want to show artwork or talk about artwork. I have a lot of social anxiety and it's really hard for me to do that. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm being very selfish if I want to share or if I ask to share stuff that I'm doing, so I don't. Even if people are receptive and positive to it. But I think most art streamers are pretty nice and pretty supportive, no matter what your level of skill. So I've done just a sliver of teaching, of art teaching. And my approach was, I'm not trying to teach you how to make a masterpiece right now. I just want you to have fun. And I just want to give you some skills so that in the future, you'll be able to make some artwork that you enjoy. But for me, it was all about the enjoyment factor. And that's what I was trying to communicate to people. I tried to give them lessons about things that they wanted to do, so it would be fun for them. Oops. No, I still haven't really gotten into any volunteer stuff here since I moved here, but it would be nice to maybe try to do some art teaching. See if I can get into that. This tube is too thick on one end and too thin on the other, and maybe I should transform. Most art streamers typically willing to share art. Viewers are too cynical to believe it's all genuine, but it's beneficial to other people, so maybe that's okay. Some art streamers are very good about sort of fostering a community and not just streaming their own stuff, but they create challenges and art. Why is this happening? That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, I know why. I think I know why. Yes. There we go. One that I have in mind is Babe Ross. I know she does like art challenges, like weekly art challenges, and her community, they will do like, we're going to do something with mushrooms this week, and then everybody will draw mushrooms and post it in the Discord, and then she'll dedicate like half an hour to just sharing other people's artwork of mushrooms or what have you. And I know there's a few artists who do stuff like that. And they probably, I appreciate that somebody is creating that kind of supportive environment. Is that? I think that's a little better. It's just behind it is wonky. And it's kind of cool that that as a platform, people can use Twitch in that fashion. Like I said, I'm terrible at the social media stuff. It would be nice to have some sort of community, but I have a hard enough time just keeping track of my own stuff. And when you're starting out doing Twitch stuff, everything, all the how-tos and advice columns and videos talk about networking with other streamers who do the same things that you do and have about the same size and type of audience as you. And I think with art streamers, that means going into other streamers' chats and saying hello and do you mind if I share? And that's just all part of the game, which is fine. It's just something I have a really hard time. It makes me just really uncomfortable. I've done it a few times and I just feel slimy. And I know I shouldn't, but I do. I really need to hire a social media handler if I cared about any kind of having a social media presence. But from what I've seen, and I gravitate towards artists that have atypical styles, so maybe I am biased. I don't know. I'm probably boring you to tears. Oh, yeah. I don't think this is any better, but at least it doesn't look gigantic anymore. I'm burning so much time. It kind of sucks that, like, one of the supposedly wonderful things about the internet being having freedom to do and say what you want because of anonymity, and I still just have crippling social anxiety. And I think if I tried to like create a new account just for the sole purpose of just trying to involve myself in other chats or something, I think that anxiety would still be pretty rough. But I did really well today. I've been doing a lot better dealing with people in person. Today, technically yesterday, but today I played board games with a bunch of strangers and that was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. No. Oh, is that what I meant to do? Oh well, too late now. So now back to important things. I was talking about movies. This. Hello, Chauncey Hill official. Thanks for swinging by. I'm just drawing a thing from a thing. As you can see, trying to make this bathroom as grungy and broken down as I can. Needs to be. I'm working on a scene from a movie from 2002 called Lilya Forever. I think it's a Russian movie. It takes place in Russia. Most of it does. So yeah, a Russian movie from 2002 called Lilya Forever. Very miserable, sad movie. And the last picture I did was from a pretty bleak movie. So you can introduce yourself. I must know what you do. You must know what I do? Are you asking me what do I do? Because I'm kind of doing it. I'm just plugging away at my hobby of drawing silly pictures. Yap. Okay. Pretty much what I have to offer is what you're looking at. No more, no less. I am not a professional or anything. I don't make any money at this. I just like to do this for fun. Just draw pictures. And the past, maybe not year, but maybe past 8 to 10 months, I've just really been leaning into doing movie scenes. I started it with film noir movies, and I just had a lot of fun with it. But I might try to move on to something else eventually. What is happening here? That's what's happening here. Self-published manga artist, content creator. Wow, that sounds like hard work. More work than I would have energy for. But sounds like fun. I used to want to do comics way back when I was a young person. But that never worked out. What kind of manga do you like to create? Sci-fi, romance, sports? What other styles do they have? Fantasy, Hentai. What are we talking about? Oh shit. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. Shonen. Shonen. What is shonen? I feel like I should know what shonen is. I apologize that I do not. I haven't read any manga, or comics for quite a while. I don't know, for boys about 12 to 18-year-olds. Okay, sort of the, what is that, One Piece style sort of stuff. Well, that's cool. My Hero Academia. Well, cool. That sounds like it would be fun to do. Cut. Paste. Yay. Merge. Oh, is your internet cutting out, Doctor? DBZ. Those are all One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Dragon Ball Z are all things I have heard of but never actually watched or read. But I'm sure they're perfectly fine. And now I feel like this needs to be darker. I used to have a webcomic around 2000. It must have been around 2000. And that was way back in the days of using a brush and ink on paper and then scanning it in and doing very, very light editing, mostly just erasing pencil lines. Long time ago. I'm not going to link to it. It's cut out twice. Ah, that sucks. But yeah, it was. And there wasn't like, that was back on the days of Keen Space. You youngins wouldn't know about Keen Space, but that was pretty much if you didn't want to pay internet server bills, or that was back in the days when the more popular you were, the more money you had to pay because of the people visiting your website. And you had to worry about keeping file sizes extra low, because the bigger your file sizes and the more people visiting. And I mean, I'm sure technically this is true, but now there's so much infrastructure that people don't even think about it. You ever shown the Comic-Con screen? No. And I have no intention to. I'm sure it would be exciting to see what Please Use Other Door of 24 years ago was up to, but some of the artwork is kind of cool, but I feel like the comics that I did, looking back at them, I don't agree with the message that I had back then. I'm a different person and I feel differently about certain issues than I felt then. And I don't really want to share that and have anybody think that is how I still feel. I don't know if I can be more vague about it, but. And I mean, I could try to point you to some cool stuff or stuff I don't mind, but then you would have access to the crappy stuff. And also the artwork is, I don't know. Some of it works and a lot of it doesn't. Let's just say I haven't grown much over the years. But that's pretty much the reason I don't really want to share it. And I don't have access to it. I don't know even how I would get access to it to edit it or to take down web pages. It's whatever email I used back then and whatever passwords I was using 20 plus years ago have long been forgotten. And I don't know that anyone would have any reason to trust me if I just said, hey, and it's something, it was on KeenSpace, and I'm pretty sure it's just going to stay up on the internet forever. They don't call it KeenSpace anymore. They changed the name to like Comic Genesis or something. So there's your best clue you're going to get. Yeah, Comic Genesis, it's still there. Maybe I can... No. And a daily sketch journal. I don't know, I'm thinking how I could share some of it without... If I can just like nab the... this... And also the stuff where I tried to be funny, it's just not funny. It's just dumb. Yeah, this is not worth sharing. You'll just have to trust me. I had no... And I still don't really have much sense of pacing and storytelling and all that shit. I would just come up with an idea and just kind of spit it out. Oh yeah, and then there's this super depressing suicidal stuff. I don't want to share that with you. Fuck that. So yes, it's still on the internet. If you want to try and find it, you can. I did not use the name Please Use Other Door back then. But good luck. I do not want to share it because there are things on there that I disagree with today and I think would be problematic. And it's also just a peek back into a pretty depressing time of my life, which you could say that about most of my life. I could say that about 3 months ago was a pretty depressing time of my life. So that's not really saying a whole lot. I think the brush is fine. I think this toothbrush is okay. I just need to, I think it's the shelf. When I add some shelving, it'll look better. But what shade? Yeah, something like this. What the hell layer is that on? Oops. And I mean, it's stuff. If somebody did find that old stuff that I did, there we go. I mean, I would certainly be willing to. I would not disown it. Why aren't you? There we go. My old Tumblr blog still exists. I pray every day for a MySpace style mass deletion. Yeah, that would be nice. Some of the artwork, it's kind of nice to look back, and some of it, I think this doesn't seem quite so true for me today, but definitely back then, sketchbooks really contained a lot of memories. When I would look back at old sketches, I would just think about what was happening when I was drawing that thing, what was going on in my life, and that would be kind of interesting. And it's kind of interesting to look back into a window 20 years ago and still have some memories. Looking looking through a photo album. So that is an argument for not completely deleting it. It is kind of interesting looking at it today. I remember thinking, I mean, I was trying to keep the file sizes down, but thinking that it looked pretty slick. And today it just looks really compressed and kind of fuzzy. It's not as crisp as I remembered it. I feel like this is not working, but that's not what I'm doing right now. Right now, I am. There's that. Okay, that's what the problem was. I did find my live journal from many, many years ago, and that was kind of interesting. There's still a lot of depressing stuff, but some of the creative stuff I enjoyed reading, like some of the dream journal stuff. Generally, I am not somebody that clings to a lot of nostalgia, but every now and then it's interesting to look back. Usually my life has just been miserable enough that I don't really have a lot of desire to revisit most of it. Back on Gaia Online, maybe online? People make webcomics for the profile. Hundreds on pages you had to scroll down to get the newest comic. Yeah, the methods of delivering webcomics when it started out were pretty ragged. They were pretty rough. Hadn't quite figured out. And like I said, there wasn't any infrastructure. You didn't necessarily have to do HTML by hand, but it helped if you could. Creating an audio dream journal last week since my meds changed. Listening to them a few hours later is interesting. Every time I've tried to record audio of a dream, I just never ever listen to it back. If I write it down, I will someday read it back. I don't know. When I have listened to it back, it's just kind of funny just how sleepy I am and just how my recall. I mean, if you think I sound pretty scattered and distracted now while I'm streaming, just listen to me trying to recall a dream after I've just woken up. Is there any particular reason you're starting to do dream journaling? Is there? Because for me, a lot of it was just creativity, trying to find creative ideas for stories and characters and stuff. and just things would happen in dreams. Really crazy, interesting, creative stuff that I just wouldn't really come up with awake. But I have noticed with certain meds, dreams just being either more vivid, and that can be like a listed side effect, vivid dreams or more intense dreams or something like that. I have noticed that. I feel like that is stinky poo poo. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, I haven't saved in the past hour and a half. I did have one dream that I started doing thumbnails as a comic because I really like the visual, but I know I'll never actually make it. And I probably talked about this on stream before, where somebody was walking through the woods and they looked up and they saw the moon. And then the moon started getting waving. It started waving back and forth. And then the person walking through the woods was suddenly swimming underwater. And it was in the middle of winter, and the empty trees, like the trees without any leaves on them, started turning into like seaweed and coral and stuff. And the person went from walking in the woods to swimming upwards towards the moon. And I really loved the visuals of it. And it just seemed like it kind of an interesting abstract comic idea. But it was just too much for me to handle. I couldn't really execute it the way I wanted to. And also, I guess it wasn't necessary for it to be in the middle of winter, but at the time it felt like pretty important that it was in the middle of the stark cold winter, and everything on the ground was, you know, either snow or like dead looking trees. That seemed to be what was visually striking about it, and I don't want to draw any winter shit anymore, ever. I want to deny that winter exists. I want to lie to myself, be delusional, pretend there's no such thing as snow and cold. It doesn't exist. Snowmen are works of fiction. Is this even... I guess it's okay. Yes, it's okay. Save. I kind of want to just add maybe just a little. Is that going to look dumb if I do that? It might. Mostly looking for patterns inside the dreams, not voted by psychoanalysis. For instance, listening to the audio of the dream last night included a wax figure that could talk, like an automaton, almost like 3 other dreams. Okay, I can see that. I did have a friend, this is probably not quite what you're talking about, but I did have a friend that I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but they said that they just had memory issues. And when they started writing a journal and writing things down, they started to notice patterns in their lives that were pretty harmful, specifically the way that they were being treated by certain people, and maybe on an individual, case by case instance, they didn't think it was that big of a deal. But reading through the journal and realizing this is happening all the time, and they realized that they had very toxic relationship. So I can kind of see that as far as just looking for patterns that maybe you wouldn't notice if you weren't writing these things down or keeping track of these sort of things. Again, I don't know. That's probably not exactly what you're talking about, but it's just a thing that happened to someone that I know. And they were part of a couple that I'd known for years and years and years. And at one point, I was looking for somebody to watch my cats while I was away. And so I hadn't spoken to either of them for maybe 6 or 7 months. And so I just sent a message to both of them, a group message saying, hey, are you guys busy on September or something or whatever? And then one of them immediately took themselves out of the chat and then messaged me personally and said, hey, we went through a horrible breakup recently and we are not talking to each other. And even though I know I didn't do anything wrong, I did feel like a big asshole. There was no way for me to know. Lose touch with somebody for 3 months and then suddenly, oh, whoops. Probably related to my OCD. Okay. If I say down behaviors of other people, which I write down too. I realized recently that I really enjoy people watching. And I try to tell myself this is not in a creepy way, or I am constantly worried that people will think I am creepy when I know I'm not. I just worry that they think I am. But just like sit on the bus or just sit on a bench downtown and just watch people go by. Yeah, that's definitely... I was definitely questioning myself in that instant. What could I have done differently? Maybe just messaged one of them instead of both and assuming. But it was kind of a unique situation that probably won't come up again quite that way. But yeah, it's kind of nutty. But yeah, I like people watching. I just really enjoy just watching people come and go and think about what they're doing, what they're thinking, what brought them here, why they're wearing what they're wearing or what they're carrying or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to do. Like if I see two people walking down the street and they're both carrying an Arizona iced tea, I think to myself, well, which one of those people started that? Which one started drinking the tea and the other one followed suit? Or was it something they independently were doing and just coincidentally both liked that beverage? I don't know, just stuff like that. It's just interesting to try to dissect what's happening in the world around me, if only to figure it out so I can actually interact with it. I'm not paying very close attention to whether or not these things make sense. I'm just kind of putting blobs next to each other and hoping that it looks three-dimensional. A little nifty. Okay, I think I can merge some of this poop. Merge the poop. creepy people watching thing is that I like to look at receipts at stores, see what the cashier's name was. I just find it fun. I don't think that in of itself is creepy unless you're like plotting to figure out, to stalk them on Facebook or Instagram or something. Oh, hello, Ramoon again. That's okay. I can have that effect on people, putting them to sleep. I'm just plugging away. I did encounter a cashier who had a name. My cat's name was Nuvina, and her name was Navina. My cat had a U and UV, and the cashier had NAV. And I never told her. I saw her a few times. I never ever said to her, "Oh, my cat has the name Nuvina." Because I've heard other people complain about people mentioning that they have a pet the same name as them and how annoying it is. So I figured I should not do that to this nice young lady and point out that my cat has almost the same name as she does. Don't mind me. I'm just mumbling to myself. Like this little thing. What is that? Is it a little football? Is it a purse? Is it a coin purse? Is it a makeup case? I don't know. I don't know what this thing is. I'm just drawing the thing. It's just a thing that's there, and so I'm drawing it. Get off my back, me. It's like when AI generates art and it doesn't know what it's doing, but it makes it just look like a shiny. Whoops. Why did I do that? Three-dimensional object, but if you actually look at it, it's like, what the hell is that? Should I do this? Should I? I probably should add shadows. It's a little bit better. God, I'm spending so much time on this, but it looks okay. I shouldn't worry about it. I'm worried if I spend too much time, I'll just get sick of it and never complete it. That is my concern. But I think it's coming okay. I don't think the ball needs a whole lot more work to it. Okay, here I had last week with just having a hard social, probably just autistic. Said to my mom, people get lost in places like this. I just stood next to her thinking about the meanings of what he said. AI dementia images. I have not. But that reminds me, I was just sitting at the bus stop and some woman walked by and just said to me, "You're dressed like you just landed here." I was just wearing a baseball cap and shades and a t-shirt and some khaki shorts. I wasn't wearing anything outrageous. But that was just a very strange thing that this lady randomly said to me. You look like you just landed here. What? Okay. AI dementia images. I'm curious, is this related to people with dementia? Is this training AI to have dementia? Having volunteered, she could smell it on me, and maybe. I mean, she was probably right. I'm not saying that she was wrong. This needs to... I'll take care of that later. She could smell that I wasn't from around here. I am getting kind of sick of this. All right, to do what I have left to do. Maybe I'll write this down. We'll just make a word layer. Come on, here we go. Make it a nice color. I need to rough up this mirror. Need finish these bottles. Need to work on this hair. Why did I make that? I think, oh, put some shadow down here. Might not have to bother with that. Maybe just. So this is the game plan to finish up this picture. And then tweak the wall and the face a little bit. Try to smooth out the face a little bit. I should be able to handle that without going crazy. Allegedly, to replicate the feeling of having dementia and not knowing objects around you, I believe. You're finding them because now it's just AI art themed around dementia. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see AI images sort of starting to proliferate on social media, and just friends who they don't have a clue, they don't know, like the AI debate of scraping images it doesn't have the rights to, and people who just don't care, they just see a cool thing and they post it, or see something they like and they post it, and just starting to see these things start popping up everywhere. And to the trained eye, it's kind of obvious that it's AI, or it looks fishy enough that I don't trust it. And I kind of feel like the genie is probably out of the bottle. Well, no. Fine, whatever. All right, I think I have done all I can for today. I had a nice 2-hour stream. That's pretty good. Well, thank you people for hanging out. Got a few nice new chatters stopping by. Thank you for saying hello. I don't know when I will stream again because I am very inconsistent. You'll just have to cross your fingers and hope for the best. Doctor, if you find those images, if you just want to post them in Discord whenever you find them, and I will check them out later, the dementia stuff. I have, doing some of my volunteering, I've seen some people with pretty bad dementia, and it's pretty depressing. I don't know, trying to replicate that kind of mindset. It seems like that would be pretty awful, but anyway, on that wonderful note, thank you for watching. For everybody else, thank you for not watching. I'll see you folks later. Goodbye.